Week 9 of lcpioneers.com live, presented by PioStream. We are on the air Tuesday through Friday at 11:30 as we have brief conversations with student athletes, coaches, Lewis and Clark community members, and alumni, and keep you connected to our Portland, Oregon campus throughout the summer and into the fall 2020 semester with different interviews and guests archived online at youtube.com/lcpios. Hi, everybody. I'm Ryan Goff. I am the play-by-play voice and director of athletic communications for Lewis and Clark Athletics. We are part of Lewis and Clark College, located in Portland, Oregon, as I mentioned, and competing in the Northwest Conference against other institutions from throughout Northwest Oregon and the state of Washington, a member of NCAA Division III, and thusly able to compete against over 430 institutions nationwide. Lewis and Clark also sporting a pretty robust overseas study program too, so our students and student athletes alike opportunities to go all over the world, learn, live, get really experiential liberal arts experience at Lewis and Clark. It's a pretty neat opportunity, and that is something we will discuss with today's guest. We have a former dual sport athlete for Lewis and Clark, very recent alumnus, just 2 weeks removed from commencement, class of 2020. She is Sarah Howard. We'll bring her in just a few moments to talk to her about overseas study, being a two-sport athlete, and then also, Lewis and Clark being located in Portland, Oregon. We have a over 130-acre wooded campus, heavy forest. It feels really remote and kind of out, but only 6 miles from downtown Portland, Oregon. And with that, it facilitates a lot of neat internship and job opportunities for our students and recent graduates. And that's something we'll talk to Sarah about because she had an opportunity to have a pretty neat internship in her world of marketing. Also has recently started a podcast that we'll talk to her about as well. We want you to connect with us. You can do so in the comments below on Facebook Live, also by emailing us sports@lclark.edu, and on Instagram and Twitter at lcpioneers. That is our handle on both. A couple things we want to let you know about as we try to keep you connected with the Lewis and Clark College community. As we mentioned, follow us on our social medias, Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, YouTube for sure. And then you can see all of our past shows on our YouTube playlist. You can find us easily, lcpioneers.com/live for all of our live shows, Tuesday through Friday at 11:30. But go to our YouTube page, and we've made a full playlist of every single episode we've been doing since the very last day of March. As I mentioned, this is week 9 of our different shows, keeping you connected with everyone in the Lewis and Clark athletics community, trying to make sure that we can bring the best stories and some information to new minors available. We've talked about the entrepreneurship and innovation leadership minor that the faculty approved in April. Also, there's a health studies minor that's been approved. That's online at lcpioneers.com as well as lclark.edu. And then as you're trying to keep connected over the summer, be sure to check out our virtual visit page too. That's lcpioneers.com/YLC. Our admissions group doing a great job of keeping everyone connected with that as well. Different opportunities, seeing videos specifically about faculty and some different curriculum available at Lewis and Clark, as well as our virtual visit and campus tour. That's again at lcpioneers.com/YLC. So with that said, let's bring in our guest for today. She's a former student athlete. I'm sure that's odd to hear, just recently removed as her spring semester ended just about 2 weeks ago. She's Sarah Howard, former track and field and women's soccer student athlete. Sarah, appreciate you joining us on lcpioneers.com live. Commencement, I mean, like I said, this is recent, 2 weeks ago. How was it wrapping up your spring semester and having commencement, not be in campus, on campus or in Portland, but trying to celebrate the best we could?
For having me on the podcast. And it's strange to say I'm an alumni. It has only been 2 weeks. It is something I'm getting used to, but it was really nice to celebrate commencement here at home. I'm currently in LA with my family, and it was definitely not what anybody expected, but we made the most of it. We had a nice little celebration at home. We had a Zoom call with friends from Portland and their family members after as well, which was really nice to be able to see everybody and kind of celebrate, even though it was virtual.
In the transition for sure for everyone with that final spring semester. You were part of a spring sports program with track and field that had that final season and with just one outdoor track and field event in the books. Walk us through,
Mhm.
from your perspective, what was it like when you found out the season was postponed briefly for about 4 or 5 days and then ultimately canceled. How did your team kind of react to that news?
It it was difficult, but I think the track team managed it in the best way we could. We found out um, that school was going to be transferred online, and then we had a meeting as a team, kind of discuss different outcomes that would happen for the track team. At that time, it was kind of up in the air. We were like, can we still practice? Could we do meets with just one school instead of the entire conference? And then almost hour by hour it changed, and we quickly learned that the season would be kind of terminated indefinitely as a result of coronavirus. But we had a nice senior celebration, which I appreciated it. I know all of the seniors really did appreciate. We met on the track. We did a senior lap with our uniforms on, which was very special and emotional. Everyone definitely was shedding a few tears at the end, and our team is very, very close, and we love to do game days where we kind of just play different games, whether it's spike ball or we have like an ultimate frisbee game that we kind of play. So we did that after, and it kind of, I think it was the best way to wrap up the season given the circumstances.
Yeah, I know that was posted on the Facebook page for cross country and track and field, LC Pios
Mm-hmm.
XCTF. You should check that out because a lot of our senior teams did that to recognize you. I want to go in
Mm-hmm.
chronological order because you are a dual sport athlete. You competed with women's
Yes.
soccer and were off last fall, the best season in school history. How did that season come together from your perspective, and what do you think really led to that success?
I think having a strong team, and we really came together as a unit versus individual players. We worked hard, and we had a very tough preseason and pushed ourselves to be better ultimately, and that carried us through the entire year. It was an amazing season. I think one that everyone will remember forever, and it's crazy to think that it was the best season and we all got to take part and do our piece as individual players and come forth as the team. So it was a really great time, and I don't think anyone will forget it.
She's Sarah Howard, former Lewis and Clark student athlete, joining us on lcpioneers.com live. We have a really good fall recap because women's soccer was one of all of our fall sports that really excelled. You should find that at lcpioneers.com because it walks through the all-time best Northwest Conference season for women's soccer. You transition into track and field then over the winter. You take the break and come back in the spring. The indoor season
Mm-hmm.
seemed like it was a little bit more lively this year than in years past. What were some of the key pieces of the indoor season that really stood out to you this year?
The key pieces, I think having multiple indoor events was really great because indoor, contrary to popular belief, is so different from outdoor season. The way the races take part, the distance and the length. I mean, in indoor season, I run 60-meter sprints versus outdoor season is 100 meters. So it's very different. And having multiple events kind of helps prepare you to compete at the ultimate level. And one of my favorite meets, which I did my freshman year as well, was at University of Washington, and being able to compete in this amazing facility on the UW campus. It definitely brings a different level of competition and expectation to compete at such a unique and recognized facility. And I think Coach Campbell prepared us above and beyond, and everyone was ready to go when the time came.
And you bring up coaches. If you could,
Mm-hmm.
give us an inside glimpse into what it was like to compete for Coach Jim Tersey, who's been, a longtime women's soccer coach at Lewis and Clark and over 330 wins in his tenure as a collegiate soccer coach. And then Coach Aaron Campbell, who really was in his first full year with the track and field program and still couldn't get all the way with the outdoor season virtually completely canceled. So, describe both of your coaches that you had the opportunity to compete for in this last year.
Both coaches are great. Definitely with Jim, he has the mindset to win and succeed, and so does Campbell. Jim and I have a close relationship because I've helped him coordinate different things for the team. I helped schedule some events during preseason when we went to Chicago. Um, Jim is an amazing coach, and he's really excited for seasons to come now that we've built such a strong foundation in the last few years going forth with the incoming freshman class. He's really building on what has been created. And then Campbell is an amazing track coach, and an amazing person, and he really pushes you as an individual athlete and looks at what you need specifically, because track is, at the end of the day, it's just you and it's your time, even though you have that team spirit off the track, and he will take any steps necessary to help you improve as an individual athlete, which is so beneficial. And I highly recommend any athlete to kind of look at the track team, see if it's for you. There's so many dual sport athletes on the team, from soccer to football, and basketball. Everyone kind of looks at it as a really great opportunity to improve as an athlete.
We have our weekly show Tuesday through Friday at 11:30, archive youtube.com/lcpios. Sarah Howard, class of 2020, Rhetoric and Media Studies major and a minor in art. And with the location for Lewis and Clark in Portland, Oregon, it's really neat because you have a campus that feels so away from an urban setting, but yet is only 6 miles from downtown Portland. And in conversations with Rocky Campbell, who's a former tennis student athlete who runs our career center, and other student athletes, it sounds like that's such an asset when it comes to seeking out internships and possible job opportunities. What was your experience in the internship realm, as far as that accessibility with Portland and maybe some opportunities it provided you?
Yeah, I had a really great internship opportunity throughout college, and I will say the Career Center is so useful. I don't think I would have got my internship if it wasn't for the Career Center helping me tailor my resume and cover letter and getting it ready for the recruiters to look at. So, my sophomore year in the spring semester, I applied to intern for NBC Sports, and I was very lucky to have received it. And so I interned for them through the spring semester my sophomore year, and then I interned for them again that summer, and then again this past spring senior year. So I've had 3 internships with NBC Sports, and I don't think that would be possible without this like location to Lewis and Clark and being able to commute downtown. It's very accessible. So I interned for their marketing department those 3 terms, and it was an amazing experience. I would do social media for Trailblazer games, get to go to sit courtside and experience the games that way, and work for them at the same time was incredible. And then I would do marketing in the office and helping with them with their digital platforms. Mm-hmm. Marketing is interesting because it gives you the opportunity to connect with the consumer kind of in a very unique way. You can tailor your approach to communicating with someone through the marketing field. So whether it's on social media and writing short form copy, or through emails, or in person. I love in person marketing events. I always found it like the best way to connect with the consumer and most memorable way. So that connection, I think, was what made me really interested in marketing. And then being able to connect through sports, I think, is so valuable. It's something that everyone can relate to in different ways, whether it was they did youth soccer, basketball growing up, or they're collegiate athletes, or just fans of the NBA or MLS. There's different stories that come forth from that, and marketing is a way to connect with them.
The opportunity to go overseas with the overseas study program at Lewis and Clark. Where did you choose to
Mm-hmm.
go? And if you could even give an inside glimpse of what the process is like to even just choose where you're going to go, let alone once you're overseas.
Yeah, so I studied abroad in Australia and I did the cultural program. And the overseas department really helps you find a program best for you. Initially, I had this vision that I would go to Italy and learn Italian and kind of connect with my art history minor and study abroad over there. But then I realized ultimately that Australia was a better fit for my needs and my expectations through study abroad, and the overseas department truly helped figure that out, and I'm so happy they did. Australia was the best place, best experience. If you're a Lewis and Clark student, I highly recommend checking that program out. And through it, we had the opportunity to go to school in Sydney and Brisbane, and we stayed with host families, and we also studied at the University of Sydney.
Oh, this is the best part about trying to do a podcast from home. I got my kids
Yeah.
talking to me in the background. Let's transition to SelfMade Podcast. This is the new thing that
Yeah.
you're working on post graduation,
Mm-hmm.
looking into
Mm-hmm.
owners' journeys when it comes to the small business realm. Why was that something that you wanted to go forth with, and what have you learned from that experience so far?
Yeah, so I started the Self-Made podcast once coming home, and I was reading online about how small businesses have been impacted from coronavirus and just the devastating impacts that it's had. And I was like, what can I do to help and spread awareness about these amazing companies that are not getting the reach that they have the potential to grow. And I've always had the idea of having a podcast in the back of my mind, but I never knew what exactly it would cover. And it was kind of like a light bulb went off, and I was like, this is it. I can seek out these small business owners and entrepreneurs, share their story, have the podcast as the platform to do so, and be able to grow their reach and share their story and lessons they've learned along the way. And it's been really successful, which was it was surprising. I had really great feedback, and I've had some amazing guests so far. I've had guests consistently every week, which has been a really nice way to spend time in quarantine. And I've learned so many lessons about, the podcasting side of like setting up mics and having conversations. But also, everyone has such a unique story to tell. And there's so many insights that I've gained from people who have, I interviewed someone who has an event birthday party company in Michigan, and it was really cool to hear her story, and there was lessons from that I could apply to my own post grad life here with everything. So I think it's been really fun, and I highly recommend everyone checking out the episodes. They are on all podcasting platforms like Spotify and Apple Podcasts. Yeah, there's new episodes every Tuesday. A new one came out today.
Yeah, I think it's a really great endeavor. In fact, we linked it into the Facebook Live comments to the Apple Podcasts location, but as you mentioned, you can find it on all sorts of places. I'm looking forward to kind of seeing how the podcast grows. Certainly, your journey. We are so grateful for what you were able to do to help PioStream, and certainly as a dual sport athlete. Come back and visit us. Certainly, as soon as everyone can come
Yes.
back and visit, we can't wait to have people back on campus. Sarah Howard, former women's soccer and track and field student athlete. Thanks for joining us.
Thank you for having me.
That was a lot of fun. Yeah, Sarah is absolutely a fantastic person to get to know and have help us out with our PioStream broadcasts and some of the marketing and things, even having a social media strategy. Sarah had that internship with NBC Sports Northwest, and you could see some of the things that she was learning while in the internship that allowed her to bring some really fun ideas to the things we do, whether it was through social media or on PioStream. And that's what's neat about the Lewis and Clark experience is it's a liberal arts education and all the things that that entails, but the experiential nature of it is what I think really stands out. And for her, yes, an opportunity with an internship, but then to also take some of those things that she's learning from the internship off campus and bring it back on the campus with PioStream was really neat. And then now, self-made podcast to have her say, that it's been successful so far, that's a big deal because there's a lot of podcasts that don't get kind of over that hump of being an idea or having an episode or two. And already she's had some success and has been able to put out something each week. So be sure to check that out again. It's the Self Made Podcast from Sarah Howard. It's in the entrepreneurship category on Apple Podcasts and also throughout all the other podcasting channels like Spotify and on Google. So those are our guests. That she was our guest today. We have more guests coming up this week, including head rowing coach Sam Taylor will join us tomorrow. Excited to talk to Ray Adia, who is a recent graduate school graduate from the Babson School for Entrepreneurship, and excited to talk to him. He's just 1 year removed, class of 2019 from Lewis and Clark, and then we'll have Peyton Romo on Friday's show to round out week 9 of our show, lcpioneers.com live. Peyton, rising junior for women's basketball. And that team is going to have a ton of weapons, including Peyton, kind of a breakthrough season. She was a little bit of everything for the Pioneers this year. Top 4 in scoring, top 3 in rebounding from a wing position, and then she was one of the top 2 3-point shooters for the team as well, as they only lose one senior from their 2019-20 team. coming back next year. So excited to talk to her. We'll have Maka from women's tennis next week, expecting Tom Lehman from college outdoors, Owen Defner, who just finished his freshman season competing for men's cross country. All of those are our guests next week. It should be a lot of fun, so be sure to join us again tomorrow at 11:30 for head rowing coach Sam Taylor. Again, lcpioneers.com/YLC. You can see everything that our admissions group is doing in terms of virtual programming. Also, be sure to type in alumni on the lclark.edu page, as our alumni group has been doing some really cool things with virtual events. And we did link to an upcoming talk that they're going to have virtual coffee hour worldwide with a former associate dean for Lewis and Clark. That's on our Twitter, twitter.com/lcpioneers. We'll keep you in the loop as much as we can as well. Be sure to give us a look on our social media, LC Pioneers on Instagram and Twitter and on Facebook as well. So until tomorrow with head coach Sam Taylor, I'm Ryan Goff. Thanks for having fun with us. We'll talk to you again soon for more lcpioneers.com live. Goodbye, everybody.
Hi, I'm Nick Lombardi. Something I've learned at Winterim this year is how to communicate a vision.
My biggest takeaway from Winterim is probably the networking. Getting to talk to everybody, connect with people for the future is one of the most valuable things, and I did Winterim last year, came back for more this year.
I think a way in which my liberal arts education has really helped me and my group formulate our ideas is that concept of critical thinking and having many different backgrounds. Me being an econ major and my two group mates being chemistry majors, we really get that well-rounded background, well-rounded ideas.
I think overall it's absolutely worth doing. You find yourself not only being more prepared for, say, this next semester, on top of being more prepared for life in general.
My favorite spot on campus is right outside the Dovecote, little benches, and there's flowers growing there, and you can get a little coffee at the Dovecote and sit there.
My favorite spot on campus is definitely the weight room. I get that everybody loves the gardens or the manor house, but our facilities for athletics here are actually amazing too, and the weight room is definitely my favorite spot.
My favorite spot on campus would either be the glade outside of the athletic facilities or South Campus.
What is my favorite spot on campus? I really like the back porch of the manor house. It looks out on Mount Hood, and on a clear day, it's super beautiful just to sit around with friends.